Anyway, at the end of that period, they can then propose. The guy proposes, I think. Yeah, the guy... Ritz, it's so good. I like it. Because I wouldn't have taken that approach.
Really?
Yeah. So I really like your perspective there and how you see it. I appreciate it. Literally. And I've had to think, why does this relationship dynamic keep happening with certain people in my life?
Welcome back to the Therapy Floor. I'm Dr. Ritz.
And I'm Dr. Vicky.
And we have just finished part 1. We had a dilemma come in about a lady who feels like she's quite an oversharer. And this can be around her familiar friends or around people she's just met. And she's often left feeling quite ashamed, quite vulnerable about it all. Exposed, yeah. And I liked the name that you came up with, which was the vulnerability hangover.
Yeah.
Like the beer fear, but in terms of like the inside stuff.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about different reasons we might overshare and where it comes from. And we were also thinking about the message that this person potentially got in their childhood, that their emotions were too much for their parents or their caregivers to handle, and then how that just has a bit of a trickle effect into adulthood.
Yeah.
So check that out if you're interested or if it sounds familiar to you, but we're going to get rocking with part 2.
We are. Okay, so I really like this one. This person says, "Hi ladies. This may be a bit of a random one for you both. I'm in my mid-40s, single, and have somewhat of an okay relationship with my friends and family. However, after watching Love is Blind," I did say it'd be random, "I recognise similar behaviour from one of the people on there. My dilemma is that I can often find myself having tense situations with people in my life. I can get into disagreements with people, have a period of not talking to them or even cutting them off completely. I often end up after the fact feeling hard done by, misunderstood, and that people are purposefully trying to get under my skin. But now I'm questioning whether I'm the problem. They say if you find that you're the common denominator, then you may need to rethink where you're putting the blame. So, how do I know if I'm responsible for these situations or whether it is in fact everyone else that is the issue? Thanks in advance and love the podcast."
Thank you. So I don't watch Love is Blind.
Oh, I do.
So I don't really actually know much about it. I don't know anything about it.
Shall I tell you?
If you want to.
I mean, I don't know which one this person watched. Might be the UK one, based on the fact that it's only recently come out. So it's like this experiment where people go into these pods. There's a number of girls and a number of guys. They go into these pods and they date people, but there's a wall in front of them, so they can only hear the other person. They can't see them. So they have dates with whoever they want to have dates with throughout, I think it's like a week period.
So it's like a drawn out version of Blind Date?
Kind of, yeah, but they're just in the pods, just talking.
Yeah.
And then they go back and then they can discuss between the other girls or the other guys who they're dating, blah, blah, blah. People are dating multiple people, feelings are being formed. Anyway, at the end of that period, they can then propose. The guy proposes, I think. Yeah, the guy... Ritz, it's so good. It's so good. So basically, they fall in love, sight unseen. They fall in love with someone.
How long is the dating?
Seeing them. A week.
And then they propose?
I think. Yeah, they propose.
Propose to get married?
Yes. And then they have a reveal. If they say yes, they see each other for the first time. Wow. Swap, give the ring. Then they go on honeymoon. Or a holiday for a week with the other couples. Come back, live together for another 2 weeks. Meet friends and family. And then they go to the altar. And at the altar, they say yes or no.
Oh, wow.
And there have been
I have a lot of thought. I'm not going to get into those thoughts, but...
Okay, let's not detract from the actual dilemma.
I think if I watched it, I'd get hooked. Don't get me wrong. But just you describing that to me, and that's people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I love it.
Because you're entertained. It's the bit that worries me. Okay, right. I'm getting back to this lady. Oh no, we don't know. So
we don't know.
They said hi, lady. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, they recognise some of their behaviour, and the dilemma is: am I the problem, or are other people the problem? When I have these frequent disagreements with people in my life.
So I think what I'm going to get from this at the moment is you're missing the point. I think. Because it's basically you're falling into this trap of who's right and who's wrong, blame, winning, and what the point you're missing here is connection. Because when you have a relationship with somebody, whether that be a friendship, an intimate relationship, a parent, a grandparent, whoever that is,
a colleague,
it's relationships about co-collaboration and about connection. It's about getting to know the other person. And I feel like as soon as you get into something that's like laying out all the facts almost, like you're just flattening the other person. It's like fact flattening. Do you know what I mean? Just like wiping them out. And then what's the point in that person being there? Only for you to win, for you to be right. And then if you're not right, I wonder if what happens is you fall into this like victim mode. And so then it's easy to get into like, you haven't heard me. You've done this, you've done that. And because you've done all these things to me, I'm now going to like push you away. What do they say they do?
Cut you off.
Cut you off.
Or just not talk to them for a while.
Not talk to them. I think it's about coming back to basics here. Like learning how to be with another human being. Learning what those basic principles are to be with another human being. And that it's not about whether somebody's in the right or whether somebody's in the wrong. Unless there are, of course, like there's actual harm being done, which is, I feel like, a different story to what you're telling me. But it just sounds like it's tense situations, disagreements, boil, and then you've not learnt to repair ruptures. Like when we talked about this in the other episode, didn't we? Like your safety behaviour here is to say,
goodbye.
Goodbye. I can't deal with this. Let me protect myself. And so for me, I'd be really interested in to know, is that quite familiar to you? Did you witness that a lot growing up? Were when you looked at people's relationships, and not necessarily that this was ever a conscious thing, but was it about people being right or wrong? Caregivers, parents, adults, grown-ups, siblings. I just feel like they're missing the point.
I like it. Because I wouldn't have taken that approach.
Really?
Yeah. So I really like your perspective there and how you see it. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What came up for you?
Okay, so what came up for me was my experience of working in a complex presentation service in the NHS, aka working with personality disorders presentations. And now, as a counselling psychologist, I'm not a fan of diagnosis and labelling, because our whole ethos is we stay with the person on their journey and we really normalize their experience, their unique experience, because of the circumstances they were brought up in, the environment that they grew up in, their way of looking at the world, their perception, their emotional regulation, their emotional level. Some people are more sensitive, some people, whatever it may be, their unique makeup, how that has led them to where they are right now. At the same time, I have worked with clients who have had a similar struggle of relating with other people. And then it is important to think about, what part am I playing in this dynamic that we are co-creating, as you say? And I think that can be really helpful without the self-blame, without the it's them, it's me.
That's it, right?
Yeah, but taking ownership of what you do or who you engage with or the kind of person you engage with, that brings out this sort of triggering you, trauma, whatever it may be, response. So I actually think that this is something that probably needs to be unpacked in therapy, because there could be so many different things that are contributing to your experiences of your relationships with people.
100%.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking about my own personal experience with, and this is me sharing, and I'm like, am I oversharing?
I'm wondering what you're about to share.
You're giving me the eyes like, Vicky, don't do it.
Let's see.
I'm thinking about, times where I have wondered about certain types of relationships that I've had in my life where there is a similar dynamic that unfolds. So it's like the same situation, the same dynamic, but with a different face, literally. And I've had to think, why does this relationship dynamic keep happening with certain people in my life? And I've had to take ownership of what I've done to contribute to this, to attract this, to accept it, to whatever it may be. And I've also had to think about what the other person is doing. But ultimately, I can only take accountability for myself. And taking accountability may look very different in different circumstances. It may look like saying sorry. It may look like going to therapy and realizing what your triggers are. It may look like distancing yourself from certain types of people. It may look like doing couples therapy, family therapy with the other person. It can take on many shapes and forms. But yeah, that's literally what I was thinking. But I really appreciated your perspective on it, and you came up with a bold statement, and I was like, oh. But yeah.
Which one was that? I hate when someone says that to me, especially in therapy. I don't hate it, but when they say, when you said, I'm like,
what did I say? Well, you started off with saying you're missing the point.
Yeah, but
I liked that.
Yeah.
Because you could easily fall into, it's them or me? When, they're missing the point here.
The thing is, it's always going to be both of you. That's why I'm saying you're missing the point. Because even if, let's say,
You need to trademark that statement. It's always going to be the both of you.
That can be the episode name.
Yeah.
The title.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about your situation, which I know about, that you've just shared.
Yeah.
And it was the both of you.
Yeah.
Because it was what you were bringing that have allowed these other people to show up with those behaviours. And it wasn't until you decided to make a more like reflective change, I'd say, was when change could come about. So that's why I was quite powerful, or was saying that with such gusto, is like, we don't interact in this world in like these individual bubbles.
In a silo.
Yeah, that we like come into contact and go boop and boop, these little bubbles. Like every time we get into spaces with other people, it's a co-creation is going to happen, and you will trigger something in them and they will trigger something in you, and neither of you have to be right or wrong. Neither of you have to be right or wrong, unless it's harm. I feel like we can all agree on harm.
Yes.
But
intentional or not.
Yeah.
Unintentional.
Yeah. But when you get into they did this or you said this, actually you just totally miss the point. You totally miss the opportunity for repair. You totally miss the opportunity for feelings, for listening, for curiosity, and then also using that knowledge to then take responsibility and ask yourself, does it work for me? And not in a way where you're like, right, I'm just going to cut you off. Because I feel like that can be quite aggressive.
It can.
Yeah,
and like punishing.
Yeah, punitive.
Punitive, that's the word.
But actually, like, more of a place of acceptance. Like how you've said, I noticed a cycle and actually it just doesn't work for me anymore.
It doesn't work for me anymore. Yeah.
And I can acknowledge my role that I've played in that and how I've allowed things that actually I've been maybe quite upset or angry about, as you've been saying. But we're all bringing something here. We're all bringing something to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say no one is special. But it wasn't me, because that's such an easy statement for people to make.
It's a bit of an infantile one, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying no one is special in that sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's quite it's almost like I'm untouchable and quite special.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'm being quite ruthless with this one.
I like it. I like your ruthless side. Don't think you bring it out enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Should I do it more?
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Oh, it just reminded me of something, but I'll share it later.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in quite a cheeky mood today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it about today?
I think it was that light bulb moment that went off on the way I was driving here. Like that truth bomb went off in my head. I felt quite empowered by it.
Yeah, there's nothing like the truth to set you
free. I am free today. You're going to hear it all. Although we're about to wrap up.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a good question to be asking and to be pondering. But like Rit says, maybe change the question and think about what is the point here? And is this the way to get to the point?
Yeah.
Or to get my answer?
Yeah.
Or to change something and maybe not? Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It can take up a lot of energy focusing on that.
Yeah, but focus on something that actually can move the needle forward. And I think conflict resolution is one of those things, like being really good, getting better. I think that's a skill that we're not necessarily taught, but we should be taught how to resolve conflict well.
Were you taught that? Like, have you ever in your childhood seen people apologise, grown-ups? I don't think kids see grown-ups apologise enough.
Yeah.
And that's conflict resolution,
Yes.
like taking responsibility.
Yes. And saying, even if this wasn't my intention to hurt you, I can see that it did and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is what I meant.
Yeah.
Because it's all about self-protection, isn't it? If we're not comfortable in doing that, it's because that we want to protect ourselves. And actually,
because do you think people have grown up with this message that if you are wrong, like in a conversation, you will leave either being right or wrong in this scenario, and if you are in the wrong, then you're a bad person.
yes.
And you're not good enough. So this black and white thinking.
Exactly.
Whereas actually, like, rewrite that core belief, like you can be a fallible human being.
Yes, you can be wrong and still be a good person or a normal person, a human.
Good people get it wrong.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I like how I'm saying we as if I'm a good person. I've just
You
put myself-
are.
Thank you. But I just felt like that was like...
I'm a good person and I get it wrong a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be wrong and strong.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I didn't get that from myself. I didn't make that up. But don't be wrong and strong. Like, accept your fallibility. And then again, when you can accept your fallibility and you share that with other people who have the ego strength to really see it and know it will know that, oh, okay, it's okay for me to be wrong too.
Yeah.
And to get it wrong and let's try again.
That's the repair.
Yeah.
And that is what connection is and relationships. It's lovely when it goes well, but the beauty of when it doesn't and how you can come out of that.
And can come out of it stronger as well.
So I think a chance for you to go inwards here and just reassess. Do relationships need to be about somebody who's in the right and someone who's in the wrong? Can they be more grey? And we invite you to get into the grey.
Yeah, accept the grey. Thank you.
Today's gone really quick.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I feel energised.
I do as well.
Oh, well, thank you to you. Thank you to you also, Ritz.
For my ruthlessness.
Yeah, and also just being here. I love having these chats with you.
Thank you, because I feel like you've been very sharey today. Sharey, is that a word?
Yeah, we'll make it a word.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So thank you.
That's okay.
I love it when we hear from you.
Thanks. So guys, as always, feel free to send in your dilemmas at hello@thetherapyfloor.com. You can find us on our socials, Instagram, TikTok. That's it.
Yep.
Yep.
I can't keep up.
I know. I was about to say Snapchat. I've never owned Snapchat in my life, but I don't know.
I loved Snapchat.
Did you? Were you on Snapchat?
I was, yeah.
Oh, I never was.
And then Instagram came out with stories. Because Snapchat was like a story that you shared.
Okay.
And then it just... I think people are still on it.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was fun. It wasn't as curated. It was literally like my life.
Until next time. I'm Dr. Vicky.
I'm Dr. Ritz.
Bye.
Bye.